We are in the Gospel of Matthew, a gospel written originally for a predominantly Jewish audience. So we may miss some clues in the aside comments that Matthew makes that are important for us to understand. Matthew wants us to remember today Moses. Moses who led the children of Israel out of their bondage in Egypt into freedom. He wants us to remember that great moment when they're in the Sinai desert at Mount Sinai. And on top of Mount Sinai is the thunder and the clouds and the lightning. And Moses goes up to the top of the mountain and enters the cloud into the presence of God. Where in the midst of the fire and the lightning and the light and the smoke, he sees God. Not face to face, but God's presence is there, and God's finger marks and writes on the 2 stone tablets the words of law that Moses this brings down to the people that become the 10 Commandments. Matthew makes a big point in his gospel to say that when the crowds are following Jesus, Jesus goes up to the top of the mountain and sits down and begins to teach. Matthew wants us to understand that these words that Jesus are about to utter come from the mouth of God himself. They are as profound and as powerful as the fire and the smoke of the 10 Commandments, because here is God in human flesh sitting on top of the mountain, speaking and teaching to his people. And the first words out of Jesus' mouth are blessed or blessed. There we run into another problem, at least I do, because I use the word blessed or blessed in a very different way than the original word is used. I always say, I am so blessed because I have good health. I'm blessed because I'm loved by my wife and have a great family. I'm blessed because I have a roof over my head. I'm blessed because I have a good job. I'm blessed because I live in this wonderful country. I use the word blessed to talk about the good things that happen in my life. I say that they're my blessings. Perhaps you do too. But the original use of the word is very, very different. Originally, in its Greek, the word blessed referred only to the gods. The gods of Mount Olympus. They were the blessed ones. They were the ones that lived in light and power and glory. As the Christian era came in, that was transferred, that God was the place where blessedness is, the place where holiness and light and love resides. And then eventually it trickled down to those who had died. You may have heard saints called Blessed Mary, or Blessed Joseph, or Blessed John, or Blessed Andrew, because they, in their death, now in their new life, are in the presence of God and they see God face to face, and they are blessed. So if we hear these words, blessed are, or blessed are, what Jesus is saying is these are the things that make you, that draw you into the presence of God. These are the things that happen that bring you to God's face. These are the things that happen that allow God's Spirit to draw you so that you are in the presence of the Holy One of all creation. So they're a little different than the happy things that I like. These are the things that bring me close to the heart of God. Now that great Russian chant, which we attempted to sing, and you did a valiant job trying, and the gospel that we hear are very beautiful words. But sometimes in the midst of the beautiful words, we miss the meaning of them, just like we miss the meaning of the word blessed. So I'd like to offer them to you from a translation by Eugene Peterson, who may help us get a little closer to what Jesus is saying. You are blessed when you are at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and His rule. Wow, this is something very different. When I'm desperate, when I'm absolutely at the end of my rope, when I have nowhere else to turn, that's when I am closest to God's presence, closest to being able for God to fill me and dwell me and change me and transform me. You are blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one who is the dearest treasure of all, God Himself. You are blessed when you are content with just who you are, no more, no less. That's the moment you find yourselves proud owners of everything that cannot be bought. You're blessed when you worked up a good appetite for God. He's the food and drink and the best meal you will ever eat. You're blessed when you care. At the moment of being full of care, you will find yourself cared for. You're blessed when you get your inside world, your mind and your heart put right. Only then can you see God in the outside world. You're blessed when you can show people how to cooperate instead of compete or fight. That's when you discover who you really are and your place in God's family. You're blessed when your commitment to God provokes persecution. The persecution drives you deeper and closer to God and God's kingdom. Not only that, count yourselves blessed every time people put you down or throw you out or speak lies about you to discredit Jesus. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort, and they are uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Give a cheer even, for even though they don't like it, I do. And all heaven applauds. And know that you are in good company. My prophets and witnesses have always gotten into this kind of trouble. I don't know about you, but that runs against everything that I was trained as a child. It runs against our English and American heritage. Ever heard anybody say, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, man. Get it together. Get your act together. Fix your life. That's not blessed. Or the passage that some people actually think is in the Bible. God helps those who help themselves. That's not a scriptural text. That's actually from Benjamin Franklin in Poor Richard's Almanac. But this idea that I have to fix, I have to mend, I have to get it together, I have to create my own destiny. All of that I and me, myself, puts me far from blessedness. Because there's some things I can't fix. Most things I can't fix and most things I can't control, so it's just a scurry of a life trying to hold it together, when in reality it's all an illusion that I can't hold together at all. Jesus says in those dark moments, in the emptiness, in the pain, in the longing, in the loneliness, in the betrayal, in the persecution, in the physical inability, in the sickness, in all those things, those are the places where God will meet you and where you will find blessing. It reminds me of the time when Mother Teresa came to New York City. She was given the grand tour of all the things that tourists get to see, in addition to the church services that she attended. She looked at the incredible history of this country, at the grandeur of Manhattan, at the beauty, at the power, at the majesty and magnificence. And at the end of her tour, someone asked her, Mother Teresa, what do you think of the United States and its people? And without hesitation, she said, "This is the most impoverished place I have ever seen."